Hi Aries, here is a general look at your solar chart for November 2014, and before I begin, just let me apologize in advance for any noises off stage, because I am in almost right on top of a very noisy Spanish street here, so there could be, background noises, but anyway, it's not going to upset things over much, I don't think. The sun, as we come into November, is in a very deep part of your sun sign chart, as it is at this time every year. So that's from the last week of October and into the third week, or at the end of the third week of November, it moves into a sort of more outgoing area. But this part of the chart has you sort of holding your cards closer to your chest, maybe, weighing things up, maybe, sussing it out as you go along, being more sensitive to moods, and being maybe more sensitive to the subtleties. And really it's a transition house, so it's taking you from one stretch of road to the next. But along the way you're being more aware of the signs, the portents, the omens, whatever you want to call them. It's a very intuitive house. It's also a house to do with deeper emotional connections with others. And if it's not like that, which it can be, it may have you pondering more deeply issues around property or money, finances, a contract, an agreement, anything like that. And this transitioning is going to occur when you've actually, through your ponderings and your inner reflections, decided that you can drop, ditch, let go of, whatever you want to call it, a previous setup, a previous understanding, maybe a previous affirmation, a previous habit, or it can be something else. But the card that gets you really from this house into the next very much more expansive outgoing house is the, okay, I'll let go of that. Now it can just be about decluttering. It can be about losing weight. It could be, that kind of dumping of ballast, or it could be more emotional, it could be more psychological. On the other hand, it could be that you are more deeply involved in whoever or whatever is going on at the moment, because it's just more riding on it somehow or other, okay? Now, until the 9th, Mercury is in your opposite sign, Libra, and that means that you will be maybe in consultation more with others, connecting with others on a one-to-one sort of basis, maybe you not being able to move forwards as well as you could on your own unless you have that knowledge or that agency coming through the other. But also it's a good time for just bouncing ideas around with somebody else. And then for most of the month, that's from the 9th to the 28th, Mercury is in the same area as I've just described the sun, so very much the mental focus being in that area, and the financial aspects coming up maybe, or thinking could revolve around property, possessions, a contract, anything in fact that you have to refer to another about. It can be an outside official agency, or it can be somebody that who will keep confidences for you, somebody that you can get information from, or somebody that you can just get support from, or indeed turn that around the other way, somebody who knows you can be confidential, somebody who knows that you can be supportive. It can be like that as well. But definitely, whichever way around you look at it, this is the area where the Sun and Mercury will be in from the 9th, where you need to trust your gut. It's a sensing house more than a logical thinking house, okay? But your deeper instincts are just much nearer the surface here. And there's a lot else going on over the month with that type of energy, in fact, because we have a few brushes with Saturn this month, simply from, you know, the planets transiting through Scorpio, which is a fixed sign. And also we do have a connection, a very strong connection with Pluto and Uranus, these game-changing, very important planetary energies that are sort of the pulling the strings, as it were, from the angle they are at each other behind this huge global upheaval and revolution that's sort of breaking out all over the place across our planet, through all of our systems, through all of our established systems. And, you know, some will have to be dragged kicking and screaming into the new era, because they are the ones that don't want the old, comfortable hierarchies to change because it suits them. But anyway, we're in this time of huge change, and change there will be, and it's happening already, and then it will get settled down into something new in many, many years, and then get sort of rolling with the new types of systems and the new types of governments and financial systems and so on, until it in its turn begins to ossify, and it in its turn needs to be overturned, maybe in a couple of thousand years from now. But this particular new kind of kid on the block, mental consciousness and heart consciousness, is here to stay, and it's in its very infancy at the moment. However, I digress as I always do. I'm sorry about that. Yes, we're having a brush with Pluto and Uranus, so that's really going to trigger them. And for you, that is going to be Mars conjuncting Uranus, which is in your sign. This means that you Arians are really coming into a new, totally, almost like a major, not even a new chapter, but like, you know, the sequel to your life. You know, like that was volume 1. Now you're coming into volume 2, or maybe you've already done volumes 1 and 2 and you're coming into volume 3, because Uranus really does tend to upset the apple cart. So where Mars is coming in, which is going to be over just watch out, in fact, for the second week, because there's a lot going on in the second week with the moon, with Saturn, with the sun, with some Venus on Saturn as well, and then we've got the Pluto-Uranus connection. So I would say from the 9th to the 14th, you know, that's a time that could be a little bit challenging, and also particularly look 10th to the 14th regarding relationships as well, or anything to do with finances, or anything that is of value to you. So that could be a relationship, that could be, you know, a possession of some kind, or something else that you're valuing there. And there can definitely some shifting around energy going on there, particularly in that second week, where we've got Mars coming over Pluto and Uranus as well. So Mars is conjuncting Uranus, and then it's making quite a challenging, hard-working angle to Pluto. There might be some feeling of coercion around, there might be some feeling of manipulation around. Of course, that would never be coming from you, but there might be some feeling of, you know, things around power, so powerlessness and empowerment, and the correct use, the benevolent use of power, rather than, you know, corrupted power or abused power. And that might be at a distance from you, it might be up close and personal to you, I can't say, but just be aware of that second week there. But still, and always and ever, much can be taken from the raw material of life and achieved with it. And indeed, I, you know, would ditto for this as well. And there's other things happening, and I'm just going to put them all in here. We've got a bit of a slow time, particularly with, it might slow, but also it's thorough and maybe it's more serious with your communications, and that can be physical communications, that can be travel type communications or correspondence, around about the 22nd. And then also on the 28th, you might be feeling a bit down in the dumps for some reason or another, but just, you know, there's that grit, there's that set jaw, there's that pushing forwards. And then also in the third week, we have the Sun going over Saturn between the 17th and the 19th. I've given that a bit of a margin there, but the 17th to the 19th, where, you know, if you're scheduling some sort of great launch or huge sort of important thing, try to avoid the 17th to the 19th, because this, you know, Saturn is always a little bit kind of a party pooper, is a bit downbeat, you know. And okay, so then we have Venus, what Venus is doing otherwise. So until the 17th, Venus is in this very deep area, the same as the Sun, where somebody can touch your feelings. So watch out between the 10th and the 14th, because that is also that area, as I explained earlier, to do with finances and property. So in your particular life at the moment, it may be touching any of those areas there. However, it can mean that things become more intimate and involved, and it's easier to push your buttons, or it's easier, or you have to, you know, you've got to be more sensitive for others. And it can also manifest as actually a very helpful relationship for you, Aries. That's up until the 17th, even though I've said between the 14th, sorry, the 10th and the 14th, you've got to work a bit harder, either to do with the money side, to do with the relationship side, to do with the contract side. You've got to watch your P's and Q's, you know, between there. But overall, the transit is really quite nice, actually, and you can do not too badly materially with Venus here. And some of you might feel like shifting into more commitment with someone, and you could be, you know, connecting with someone, sharing with somebody, sharing something with somebody, or sharing more deeply with somebody. And then from the 17th, Venus moves from there, and that's just around about the time the Sun is going over Saturn in another part of your solar chart. And Venus then moves into an area which is more extrovert and outgoing, supporting relationships with those further afield, or simply further afield for you, you know, something unfamiliar for you. They're from a different background, or have different expertise, which is useful to you. It could be to do with teaching, it could be to do with higher education, but it's a friendly energy. It's a really good angle to your sun sign energy as well, and you're likely to be able to connect with knowledge in this friendly kind of a way, which tends to balance your perspective, your ability. It helps you join up the dots, it helps you get the bigger picture. It could also be that you're traveling with a partner, or you're learning something new together with someone. You team up with someone, you know, and you're both of you learning. You're both of you on a learning curve, and you feel valued by them, and you feel that they value what you can do and what you know, and also you value them and what they know as well. Publications and education could also be emphasized here, and could also actually benefit you in a material sense as well. Now the Sun moves on the 22nd, comes into this more expansive area, the same areas as I've just described for Venus. So it's a good time to get out and about and try new things, jump into, you know, really sort of dive into something which is right outside of your usual box. That would be a good idea. And from the 28th, actually, Mercury comes into this same area as well, this more extrovert area. This is a time for you to really put your mind to an unfamiliar environment, or distant places, or travel, and definitely thinking in bright new colors and really refreshing your palette. Mars is in an area to do with your goals and ambitions and what you want to achieve, you know, in the now. You want to get to this level and then this level, and then it's very sort of step by step by step where Mars is. but also this is about the master plan, and making, you know, pushing towards where you want to go, you know, pushing towards, but with, like I said earlier, the Uranus-Pluto thing going on, you may have to really hang loose and be flexible about it because of the sort of the up and down, the topsy-turvy, or kind of teeter-totter, is that what we say? Seesaw energy here, which might, you know, be beyond your control. And so just kind of blow like, you know, bend like the tree bends in the wind. And you should be keeping up the image, keeping up, you know, with the reputation, the reliability, the responsibilities here, really rolling up sleeves and saying, okay, you know, I nearly said slave then, didn't I? Freudian slip. But yeah, I mean, working and making sure that you're getting to where you want to be through what you can do, through how you're seen, through how you're presenting something. You might have to come up to some kind of standard, you see, so that'll be more or less, or rather more, on your mind. And now Saturn, of course, is in the area of this deeper energy that I've mentioned to you, with the Sun going over Saturn. And this is, you know, you clearing the decks, making space for new green shoots, letting go, saying, I really don't need that anymore because I haven't worn it for like 10 years. Let's get rid of it. And that can be a way of being, not just, you know, some clothing, or a set of ideas that you're brought up with, which are really not serving you anymore. So that's the Saturn stuff. And by the way, Aries, this is the last month that Saturn is there for quite some time, because next month, or rather next month, it moves out of there for quite a while. So you'll have a very, very different vibe coming in, but that's for later. Anyway, you Arians born in the last 10 days, or with 23 to 28 degrees rising, are going to feel that energy the most. Jupiter is in a great, fantastic angle to your sun sign, the planet of expansion, positively influencing your life over the many months to come until August. And you could be feeling more creative, more enterprising at times, throwing caution to the wind, maybe feeling a bit sort of wild with this energy sometimes. It's romantic, it's spontaneous, it's empowering energy. And it's very much focusing on the leisure area, the entertainment area, the artistic area, the creative, did I say that? I'll say it again, area. Also children, little ones, animals, pets. And you Arians born in the last 10 days with 19 to 23 degrees rising are going to feel that energy the most. And then for Uranus, you Arians born in the middle 10 days, or with 11 to 14 degrees rising, are going to feel that energy the most. And Pluto, you Arians born in the middle 10 days, with 10 to 13 degrees rising, going to feel the energy the most over this forecast period. So it's arranged a little bit differently, but if it's there for you to hear, then you'll hear it. And that's it. If you know your if you know your moon sign or your rising sign, listen to those. They'll be on here somewhere. And all of this is written up on my website actually, and you can read it. So that's it. I'll see you the next time.